go. We are here waiting for Facebook to catch up to us. Okay, I think we are live. I'm actually going to go and double check here and make sure we are live. Yes, we are. All right. Good morning, everyone. I am here with the amazing Maja. We are going to talk about how Maja went from feeling really stuck and not able to set limits with anyone to feeling like she is gaining her confidence back, she's gaining her voice back, and she's having some really, really big shifts. So let me know if you guys are watching live, if you can hear us. And I want to apologize for the delay. I completely forgot about daylight savings time. So here in the US, we changed our clocks this past weekend. But in Europe, where Maja is, they don't change for a couple of weeks. So our scheduling was off here, and it's my bad. Daylight savings time drives me crazy. Let me know if you guys are on the same page with me here about daylight savings time. I am not a fan. Just curious what you guys think. But yeah, let us know if you can hear us. I'm going to check the comments as we're going along here. But let's just get into it. Maja, thank you so much for coming on and doing this live today. I really wanted to bring you on because your story is so inspiring. You know, we've really only been working for a few weeks together, and you've had some really, really big shifts. So thank you for coming on with us.
Hey, thank you, Lindsay, for inviting me. It's an honor to be
Oh.
here, and I'm really happy to share my story, and hopefully I can help somebody else to see what needs to be done or how to do it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So, my first question for you is what was going on in your life before you found me? What were some of the challenges you were experiencing?
Um, so to go all the way back into my history, my toxic relationships have been going on for 19 years since I married and had a child, and realized that my then husband was a narcissistic kind of egomaniac, maybe a little bit. And when I found you through a friend of mine who referred me to you, and basically I started. It was really this the relationship that you describe in one of your videos, like all the best of the world, the flowers, the this, that, the just the princess of the princes and the only, and everything was too good to be true in some ways. And my family said it to me, oh, this does sounds really weird. I don't think it's normal and so on. But I kept wanting to believe it. And
Yes.
I think it was due to my insecurities overall that I needed that kind of feeling in a way. And I realized later on that they called it a golden cage, that he put me in a golden cage, and then he tried to remove me from all the contacts with other people slowly. I limiting me with talking to my family and things like that. So it started to be a bit strange to me. And I kind of what I would say is have since let's say I divorced, which kind of happened. I said, I'm never going to be able to divorce this guy unless he finds a different woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I did manifest that, and actually he did. And then I had a way out, I say, a quick way out, thank God.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then the real trouble actually started for me. Co-parenting with such a person, and then me not taking care of myself at that time. What happened was that I ended up in another relationship that was similar, and then I thought another relationship, but I kept working on myself. At the same time, I thought, okay, I know it all. My conscious mind is clear. Everything is good. I read about it. I listened to all kinds of videos and so on. And I just, I just kind of thought I'm fixed and everything is, but things kept repeating.
Mm.
And I was not myself, and I wasn't happy, for sure. And I couldn't figure out why I'm not happy, what's going on, why I can't relax in my relationship, why I'm always, finding excuses for the other person, and always the one, as you describe it, I'm very empathic kind of
Mm-hmm.
person. And I felt very bad for the other people, and always felt I can fix them.
Yes.
So I always seeked that kind of guy that needed fixing, and not the guy that would help me fix myself, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just, I just always see all the good in people. And when
Yes.
you do that, then you attract the people that will maybe abuse you for being so nice. And so we come to my second big problem with that being empathic was setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've not been able to set boundaries. I know theoretically, I read about it, I know how, I try to practice it with my teenage son, but it just doesn't work. I can't do
Yes.
it. So that's a really long answer to your short question, Lindsay. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. That's you gave us a ton of information there, and this is very helpful because I think many people can relate to this. I know as like I can as you were sharing your story, I was like, "Yep, I've been there, have experienced that." Yeah, because we can know all this stuff consciously, but then actually doing it is where it gets really difficult. And usually it's because there's a lot of subconscious stuff that makes it difficult to set the limits with people. To be able to speak up, to not make excuses for people. And it helps tremendously to have support to shift
Yeah.
some of these patterns. Because these are patterns that I know for me were like going on my whole life, probably, similar
Mhm.
to you. So,
Yeah. I think that was convinced that my conscious mind will be able to fix my subconscious mind. and
yes.
and so I felt the whole life, maybe I have felt like a little like a yo-yo. So I was going up and down, then I was again setting boundaries, and then the minute something wasn't right or something, I made excuses, and then I said, oh, it's my fault, and then I will even bring everything more on the platter to them and serve them even better and things like that. And then I realized, okay, it all comes from my childhood, the way my mom and dad functioned,
Yes.
the way the family problems were, and then they got divorced when I was 15. And then I left Europe. I live in beautiful Slovenia, but I was born here, but I left when I was 18 to go to the States. So I lived in the States for 15 years. And so a lot of big shifts happened in me, but I was lost inside the whole process, seeking happiness somehow, somewhere, but
Yes.
not understanding it lays inside of me, not about anybody else, So
Absolutely. And in addition to finding the happiness inside of us, our relationships do really have a big effect on our ability to cultivate that. Because if we're, I know like for myself, if I'm in a situation where I used to be, where I'm in this abusive relationship, it's a terrible environment to try to cultivate that happiness. So let me know. I'm gonna check the comments here. Let me know if you guys can relate to Maya's story or what I'm sharing about myself. I'm very curious what you guys think about this. Hi, Loveland. I see her here. Beautiful. Okay, great. So yeah, so my next question is after you know all this stuff that you've been through, why did you decide to work with me at the end of the day?
so what happened really was that I just could not get out of it. I could not change anything. And I started feeling then my boyfriend now, I realized we were both uh, coming out of an abusive relationship. So we were both my it's windy outside and my shades are going up and down to
Oh,
protect themselves not to break yeah, because they automatically go up.
oh,
Stops.
okay. You had a sunburst. You
Yeah,
disappeared on us for a
yeah,
second.
exactly. So what happened was that he was he got out of an abusive relationship, and so did I, and none of us did anything about it. And so we were like, okay, trying. He still, you know, he's a guy, so he's not most likely going to admit it. He's admitting it slowly,
Yeah.
but he understands when I say how I feel, and I'm way ahead of this, and I believe it's gonna work out. But I have to make my own commitment to make myself feel comfortable to not repeat all the same mistakes, as I would say. And not only that, to get rid of some things that I honestly must say that after the first session with you, I just felt like a huge weight, this just lifted off, a part of me lifted off. But I felt that there's a lot more weight, so I was worried. I was like, oh my god,
Yes.
Lindsay, you gotta have so much work with me. This is gonna be crazy. but but things, from age 1, from age 3, from age 6,
Oh
and
yeah.
remembering things, that you don't think about, like, popped out in my head when I was meditating through the process, and things like that, that following your guides and going through the meditation after the sessions and so on. I just feel that things really, n- it's hard to describe. Things remove themselves from my mind, or
Mm-hmm.
from my feeling, or my heart, and cannot explain it. It's not some fiction. I think it's something, sometimes you say, okay, yeah, because I know that she did this. Now I'm
Right.
removing it from my head, a la di da di da. And we've all seen it, done it, and so on. But I honestly must say that I haven't felt guilty setting a boundary, and I've been testing it. And I felt like, okay, I don't care what he thinks. This is what which is so unusual
That's
for me, because
huge. That's
yeah,
huge.
because I would always be like, okay, I'm not gonna say this because he's not in the mood. Oh well, then you're walking on eggshells around people,
Yeah.
including your own son, who you should discipline at age 15. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, he's bullying me, and and I'm thinking, who am I, and I just felt this nudge, this big shift. But I must say, after the first session, there was one leap, and then
Yeah.
the second session brought in even more greater experiences, because when you identified approximate age group or things like that, when this happened, or what was in the subconscious mind going on, and where did all this fear come from as a child, then I remembered, things, scenes that I have not thought about at all, like from my childhood. Let's say, when at one point my dad got home, my mom got on his nerves, and he slapped her,
Yeah.
and I was watching this as a child. And at that time, that dad would just say, go into your room, whatever, and stuff like this. And I never thought about it until now, when we did the second session. It came to my mind like it happened right now.
Yes.
And I never knew that event probably affected me for being scared of being truthful to a guy, or to be, to be very honest and open, and to be present, because I was always scared, and walking on eggshells in some way. But in when I would go away, turn away, I would be very confident, and I have a good job. I've always
Mm-hmm.
worked for big corporations. I've done da 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 in career, master's degree, IT. I'm all this stuff, so I'm and that saved me in in some way. But that also prolonged my healing process, so I kept making excuses. Okay, I'm doing well in career, I'm doing that, oh well, the right guy will come along, but the minute I would get into a relationship, the whole book folded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, thank you for sharing this. You brought up a lot of really good points here. And one of the things you brought up was having boundaries in relationships. Because I don't know if this was what you experienced, but when I first realized, when I first learned that a healthy relationship, you have to have limits and boundaries, that really blew my mind because I was not operating from that place. I was kind of like you. I'll just change myself. I'll just give and give and give until I have no energy, until I deplete myself. And so, yeah, that really was I want to say like a life changing concept for me. But then, okay, so once I learned about that, it was then a little bit of a challenge for me to actually do it until I addressed the subconscious stuff. And it is
Mm.
real. It's funny. I had the same exact feelings when I first started to do this work. I didn't believe it actually worked. I was like, okay, let me just try this. And I had these huge shifts. And just like you, I felt like weights were just being lifted off of me. And I was like, okay, this is for real. Um, so yeah, I'm
And
glad you shared that experience.
yeah, and what's funny is that when we started, I said, I said, okay, I'm an IT person, so I'm gonna test it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do that. So I would just, prepare. I would set boundaries to my boyfriend. I would say, no, we're not gonna do this now. I don't feel this and that. And he's just like, he went like this, like, what's happening with you?
Yeah.
Like, oh, but it was very positively accepted. And in my opinion, yeah, it's like he wanted it, he
Yes.
needed it. and and
Yes.
and when you say in your video that when you set the boundaries, it's going to be the contra effect. It's going to be the effect of, oh my gosh, this is a woman that knows what she wants. This is what I want. Because
Yes.
otherwise because we've been going through last 4 years, sometimes both of us lost, and nobody making any decisions, or
Mm-hmm.
everybody being just quiet and sweeping everything under the rug because we were afraid. Because we have to know we both came from a toxic relationships. And so it's funny that we found each other. But 4 years ago, another let's say healer told me, you found each other, so you're going to heal each other, and you're mirroring each other, and you're going to be more advanced about it, and so on. He's going to take time, but he trusts it, and he knows he's going to do it. Because when I would do the tests about how I feel in this relationship, I wasn't happy about
Mm-hmm.
the results of the test. Because
Yeah.
I started finding myself, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm repeating the story, I'm repeating my relationship again and again. And it I really said to myself, if after all this process, I feel again that this is not thing, I even though I don't want to, I'm ready to go as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this anxiety and fear and everything like this felt, it calmed me down. I was feeling calm about it, where the other way, before, or maybe 2 months ago, there would be like, no way I'm going to be alone, there's no way I'm never going to find anybody, I'm not, I
Yeah.
immediately started panicking, and thinking, okay, even now in COVID, you don't even go out, you don't meet, but this is
Right.
not anyway how you meet people anymore, and things like that. And I just started thinking, okay, like, he's the last person on earth, thinking, this is no way, I have to make this work, and I have to change him and shift
Yes.
him and do all of this. But I also didn't realize it until the third session. We did three, correct now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
the third session, that he's an exact same victim of a toxic relationships as I am,
Yeah.
and that he is willing to open, and he needs me to set boundaries.
This is
So it
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that, that your current relationship is not going to work, or that you have to leave it. I think there's a transformation within yourself that has to happen in order for you to be comfortable and happy, and not keep things inside of you due to all this stuff from childhood and early relationships. Because a lot of things that we identified happened in my teen years, like, 17, 18, 19. I went through big transformations then,
Yeah.
leaving former Yugoslavia at that point, going to the US, completely different world and everything else. It was just like, shock, 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 and my parents just getting divorced before that, and my father remarrying and having more children and so on. So, it was
It's a
kind of
lot.
an, yeah, and leaving my brother, who was 2 years younger, here alone with my mom, who had a 15-year younger lover. So it was like a crazy nightmare. And then,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they just said to me, yeah, you escaped. Yeah, but I never dealt with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really important what you brought up here about the relationships, because every relationship is different. There's, you hear me speaking a lot, and I mean in the group and on my personal page about, leaving relationships that are no longer serving you. But sometimes you are with someone who can rise to the occasion, and give you what you need, and it can work. So yeah, you're an example of that. You're setting these limits, and your partner's like, okay, it's working out. And it makes sense, especially since he's been, like you said, a victim of a toxic relationship. It's actually, boundaries and limits are actually a very attractive quality, which I didn't realize either. I thought if I set limits, I was being mean or people wouldn't
Same with
like
me.
me,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
people actually like it.
Oh, like, do you want to go see this movie? And I would be like, no way, in my head. And I would go, oh, sure. I love scary movies that
Yeah.
I can't sleep for 3 days. Sure. Just because he said. I'm like thinking, now I would say, no way. Go see it with somebody else who wants to
Yes.
see it. You know?
Because yeah, people, if you're interested in men like it when you have an opinion, when you have something that, you kind of stand for, and you have your limits. Because I can share about my experience with my partner. One of the reasons he was attracted to me is because I did have those strong limits. He didn't want to be with someone who he felt like he could kind of just like walk all over. It's because he said it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling when you're with someone and you don't know if they actually, like, if they're just saying things to please you. He said it actually helps me trust you more because I
Mhm.
know you're honest. You will speak what your truth. If that
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
and a good test to me, in a way, that I received this clarity is that I said, okay, if I would say, okay, I'm gonna go to have coffee with my girlfriends or something like this once the coffee shop's opened, uh, he would say, absolutely, just go. Don't even ask me. Why are you asking me? Kind of like this. And then
Yeah.
okay, this is the normal person. Because in my marriage, it was like, where are you going? She's crazy. You don't want to hang out with her. She's this, she's that. Everyone, no, I think you need to do this. You should cook. You should blah blah blah. Don't you have work to do? When you express your opinion and you express your wish, you're with the right partner that supports you, and and
Exactly.
and also supports you in this. I said, oh, I'm going to this training and da, da, da. Huh, okay, well, it's interesting, tell me about it. Like that kind of, and we listened to some things together, and so on, and he was like, oh wow, that's so true, and just really, then if
Yes.
because for my ex husband, it was really interesting. Everybody was an idiot and everybody was crazy, and you know everything was, just, you shouldn't hang out with mom, you shouldn't hang out with brother,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't hang out. So that's a narcissistic kind of, behavior in some ways. But I'm now mainly working with you to clean or to get rid of all the situations and the problems, clarity with my raising my son, because I've been divorced for almost 10 years, and my son is being heavily influenced by such a toxic person. And Lindsay and I are trying to work through the problem of me being setting boundaries, to my son, as well as to very well my ex, that have we have joint custody
Mm-hmm.
and fighting for the custody, and I've always been afraid of him. I always been saying, okay, he's gonna do this, he's gonna go to, because he threatens and
Yes.
he's bullying and he's doing all that, and I don't know, I've kind of calmed down, and I said, okay, I'll be offering my child all the support to get away. I will teach him what's right, what's wrong, and that the behavior is not okay. And I will offer him, he's old enough to start deciding what he wants to do or not to do, and I'll support him in that. And that's been my battle, because once you divorce and you don't have children, then you can cut off that toxic person.
Yes.
But if you have children with them, and I'm sure a lot of people on your Facebook page have a problem with co-parenting as well,
Yeah.
with it, because they become even more crazy once you divorce and you
Yes.
co-parent. And that's what the difficulty here is. And I think that tapped into my childhood trauma and other things I didn't resolve subconsciously even more, because he knew exactly which buttons to press and how he can manipulate me.
Exactly. And so the boundary work that you're doing, it will absolutely translate into working with your son and dealing with your ex. You know, I always say that boundaries, it's not like all of a sudden you have boundaries where you didn't before. It's a process. It's like baby steps. So, you know, you start to do it little by little, you get more and more comfortable with it, and then you can start to work up to the hard ones, you know, like the stuff with your son, and then eventually with your ex. So what you're doing right now is amazing. You're taking huge steps. So I want to just
Yeah,
give you a lot of
I'm
credit for
ready.
that.
I'm ready for huge steps because I'm tired.
Yeah,
I was drained, from pleasing everybody.
it's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
exhausting.
And never thinking about myself. But my hardest thing right now is to figure out what really are my boundaries. What
Yeah.
really do I want and not want? Because I've accommodated people for so many years.
Yes.
I'm 52 and I'm basically, thinking, oh my God, all my life I've been pleasing everyone except myself.
Yeah.
So, it's,
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm glad that you're on here, because it just goes to
mm,
show like it's never too late to do this work. I mean, you're doing amazing transformational work at 50. Because a lot of people do come to me and they say, you know, this is for young people, like I'm too old. I say, no, absolutely not. If you are ready to do the work, you can do this at any age. And you know, life is so precious. Why not do it now so that you
mm.
can have, you know, a good second half of your life or however long you're going to live, you know?
Yeah, I said, at the end of the day, you're laying there and you're going, okay, I've lived all my life to
Yeah.
whatever, please everyone else. And I'm here and I'm alone and nobody really cares. I'm a burden to them, whatever. It's like, because you didn't set boundaries, lady.
Yes.
I'm thinking now,
Yes.
I'm like, because you absolutely didn't set boundaries, and I never realized how big of a deal it is.
Boundaries completely change your life.
Yeah.
Like when I say that, I'm not even joking. They've, as you know, they've completely changed your life. They're like who I was before boundaries is a completely different person. Once I set limits, my life got so much better because I wasn't drained anymore. Yeah, it's night and day.
Yeah. So really this, I think I always thought I've done it all. So
Mm-hmm.
I've done the studying, I did meditations, I did all kinds of other kind of voodoo stuff and whatever else you want to call it, and
Yeah.
to think that this is going to help and it's going to change things. But I never knew what was really wrong with me. Why is my thought process going into this stupid ideas and fears and just cannot relax and always have this black scenario in the head of some sort.
Yeah.
And you know I do understand that it's something that are those the blocks in your subconsciousness that are talking to you and so on. And I honestly think I wasn't sure if the method works or not, but
Yeah.
I think it really helps when you try it for once and then you see the result, like my cousin did so
Yeah.
with you. And she's like, okay, I'm feeling really strange, Maya, did you feel this way
Yeah.
too? Like, I forgot what my ex's name is or whatever,
Oh, that's so
like,
amazing.
it's funny. Yeah. So,
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what would you say to someone who thinks that maybe this won't work for them, the energy healing, coaching, meditations?
um, I think they need to try it. I mean, everyone has their own comfort method that they feel, but if it doesn't work, they need to try something else. And I think um, it's this deprogramming of your mind cannot happen on the conscious level.
Not entirely, no.
Yeah. And so you do it and your conscious is like, okay, la la la, makes sense. I'm a left brain person, so I'm like, okay, for me this, da, 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 checklist, da, da. Okay, now I'm fixed. Then I'm in a situation and I'm like, I've never read anything in my
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
And so it's this empathic. I was very empathic even as a child. I mean, even when in primary school, a girl came to class and she was deaf basically almost, and I immediately raised my hand. I said, I'll sit next to her, I'll help her to make
Wow.
sure she understands everything. And we were really good friends the whole primary school and so on. But I always wanted to do this, and this was always something that, and then I came home and said, oh, she's my good friend now, and da, 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 da,
Yes.
da, da. Even though I had other friends, I was social, I was in sports and things like that. But this, I think it hurts us that are empathic and the ones that are really serving others and that feel others more. It's also, I think, escaping the fact that you have to deal with yourself.
There is often that going on, but there's also, just a very natural, beautiful quality that people have that are, when they consider themselves empath, they are just really naturally very giving too. And like I tell people, you don't have to stop being that way. You just have to direct that towards the right people and
Mhm.
set your limits. But yes, some of it can also be distracting from your own what should I say? Your own work that
Mhm.
you might have to do, stuff that you might have to feel. So yes.
Yeah. So I would say that everyone that if you try the program, then you're convinced. Because I just said, okay, I'm gonna try and see what happens,
Yeah.
you know? And when exact situations from my childhood popped out during the process and said, this is what this happened at this age, and this is what happened at that age, it it kind of crystallized it for me in a way of removing it, that that had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do, it's not my fault that that
No.
happened. Because children, that parents get divorced, they always blame themselves
Yeah.
most of the time in their life. And for example, then my mother kept living this sad life in some way, or a lonely life, never remarried or whatever. And she said to me at 20, well, no men are worth it, to spend
Hmm.
time with or to trust and things like that.
Wow.
So it was very hard when all these things, when we started working, crystallized. And I forgot about this, that she told me this. I forgot. And then
Yeah.
I just suddenly remembered. And I must say that the 21 days that you do meditation during the sessions, that you have to do every day, and then one, you do the boundary, and then you do every day, they're really hard for me because they are so emotional.
Yes.
And I must say, I wasn't good last 3 days. I didn't do it.
That's
I have
okay.
I
Yeah.
have I have to do them today. I have to do one today. I mean, they're not that long, but I'm just saying the whole combination with the actual session with you, then the doing the all the guides and everything that you do, and then listening to the videos. I think I've listened to your boundaries video many times now,
I
like
love it.
in the
Good.
car I listen to it all the time, because
Good.
I get courage from it.
That's exactly what it's for. That's why I put it. What she's referring to is what if you when you work with me, you get access to an online course,
Mhm.
which is in it's in a Facebook group. So yeah, that's exactly the purpose of it is to listen to it over and over again to remind yourself because these are long-standing patterns that we're shifting.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
beautiful.
and I think the program overall, I first thought, okay, this is kind of like an expensive program or whatever. And I thought to myself, okay, whatever is really cheap, it's not worth it. It's some kind of a, the person has gone through a great deal of dedication to the thing and great thing of learning. And it's appreciative to value that because you're moving, Lindsay, you're moving people's subconsciousness in many ways. And not everybody in the world is capable to do that. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate that we're doing things and so on, and that and I hope that um, everyone else will have the courage to move something, because for everyone will be their own story.
Yes. Well,
and
thank
um,
you. Thank
and
you
I'm
for saying that.
available for anyone, and I'm in the group to ping me personally and say, ask me some things or whatever. But I don't know. I feel I've also a lot of times helped a lot of people from my consciousness. I knew about these things, and then I
Yes.
would help other people, but never help myself, because again, I try to steer my work on myself to somebody else, fixing somebody.
Yes. Well, what I will say is if you are watching this live, if you're watching this in the replay and you want to speak to Maya, you have a question for her, just type it in the comments and you can go
Yeah,
back and answer them or message somebody.
yeah. I'll
Um,
get a notification for it. So,
yes. Well, and I have one final question for you. You
okay.
ready?
Yeah. Okay. Scary. I'm scared
No, no,
now.
no. It's not bad. No, it's just now that, you're in the program, you're having these big shifts, what are you most excited about for your future?
um to never have these blocks again, to never really think about it that I even had them.
Yes.
uh and when you live in your subconsciousness only the things that should be there, then you are able to control your consciousness as well, or you feel freer because nothing's weighing you down. So
Yeah.
I look forward to this, you know happy, freer, setting boundaries. And I like that, Lindsay, you're gonna support me even when we finish the program.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we'll be in the group, and I'll have access to all the materials after, and you'll continue doing new materials and things like that. And that really makes me feel comfortable that, okay, if I have a bad moment or whatever, I can always rely on you. And you may say, okay, let's just do one session quickly, because you really need something really we didn't get to, maybe, or
Yes.
something like this. And I don't know, I just think you are an honest, kind person, and I know that your mission is uh, very genuine, and that's what I appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, and I don't like I tell all my clients I don't just disappear once the program is over. You're always like I'm always here to reach out to because stuff sometimes comes up, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And maybe we didn't get to it because we didn't know it was there. But
yeah,
yeah, you're always free to reach out to me. And yeah, like once when you take my course, you have lifetime access to it. It's not going anywhere. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
I'm just going to check the comments here and see if anyone has any comments. But if you guys are inspired by hearing Maya's story and you want to go through your own shifts, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to also leave the link to my calendar in the description here. I'm going to go back and do that. But yeah, if you want to book a session with me, I do just free chats to see if you would be a good fit for the program. Feel free to reach out. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for coming in here, Maya. Is there anything else that you want to say before we go?
no, I just want to say hi to all the ladies and
Yeah.
say you're not alone in this. And
No.
you seriously, you can always ping me and chat about things as well. Maybe I'm further in the process, maybe not, maybe. maybe just share an opinion or something else. But I'm
Well,
I'm
thank you.
definitely
Yeah.
I'm definitely benefiting a great deal, and I'm glad that, that I was able to join the program.
Well, yes, and thank you for offering that because, really one of the main reasons I created this group is to show that, hey, we are not alone here. There's so many of us who are gone through or are going through the same things. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of support here. We have so many amazing women that, whenever someone puts up a comment or a problem or a concern, everyone jumps in and offers support. It's beautiful. So thank you for offering that. Yeah, we are absolutely not alone here. And there's a lot of hope for
Yeah.
recovery and for getting better.
Mm. Yeah. So I think it's very nice. So
Well, okay. I don't think we don't have any comments here at the moment. But yeah, if you have any questions for me, questions for Maya, put them in the comments. Let us know if you're watching live. I know there's a couple people watching live, or if you're watching the replay. I always like to hear and see who's watching when. But yeah, thank you so much, Maya. I'm going to end this and let you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, sure.
It was lovely to have you here. I will be talking to you soon.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lindsay.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye.
Bye.